Changing gears once again, we're talking about Oracle. Stock has been taking a beating after it reported those second quarter earnings last night, missing estimates. And for more, we're joined now by Evercore Partners analyst Kirk Materne. And Kirk, I'm just looking at your note from December 18th, and it said, looking for some holiday cheer. This is your Oracle note.
Yeah.
Certainly didn't get it.
No, not much holiday cheer last night. I think it was a pretty big surprise for the market, and you're seeing that reaction in the stock this morning. I think the big issue you had last night was the hardware business was weak, but that's been a bit of a mixed bag the last couple of quarters. FX, you can't really hold the company too accountable for that, but clearly the end of quarter push out of some deals, I think plays into investors' fears that the macro environment's starting to come about and have an impact on how CIOs and CIOs are deciding to spend. To a certain degree, I think there's probably some execution issues. This is software. A lot of the business is done at the very end of the quarter, so Oracle should have been able to see some of this coming potentially, but it does put a question mark around, is the macro economy starting to have an impact on these software companies?
Well, let's talk about one of those components. We're talking about the order bookings. That was another thing that analysts and traders are keen on, showing some softness in the future here. How much is Oracle a bellwether for the entire tech sector or for tech spending in general?
It's really going to get down to whether or not you believe the company in terms of this was somewhat of an execution issue at the end of the quarter, or whether the macro environment's really starting to soften. We've seen good results up through October from names like SAP, even companies that are down, like Red Hat reported the other night. Their numbers were pretty solid. Obviously, expectations were pretty high there. So I think it's hard to say, but given this is the last data point we're going to have going into the next year, I think Oracle, you're seeing sort of the ramifications on SAP this morning. It's down the market. It's going to be an overhang, I think, on the overall group, and I think any enterprise IT spending vendor.
All right, you've got a $38 price target for Oracle. Outperform is the rating. Are you thinking about changing that at this point? I mean, we've seen some analysts moving already this morning.
So we did lower our price target last night to 35. We kept our overweight rating. Our view here is the stock's obviously reflecting in the bad number. Oracle does have a tendency to rebound pretty quickly after a bad quarter. I think they sort of pride themselves on proving the doubters wrong to a certain degree. And and our view right now is you sort of have the third quarter numbers become a little bit of a call option for the stock. If they show that this was just a one-time sort of anomaly, not a trend, we think the stock can bounce back. And then you're actually heading into their fourth quarter, which is their strongest seasonal quarter. So you could see a real turnabout, but a lot of it comes down to their ability to execute. If they execute in third quarter, we think the risk reward's still attractive, which is why we kept our overweight rating. But a lot remains to be seen on how the third quarter plays out at this point.
Clearly a market taken by surprise by yesterday's report. What's the relationship like between the analysts and Oracle's management team? I mean, it's sort of different by each company, but usually management will reach out and sort of manage expectations through the quarter.
I think that's probably part of the surprise. They had their Analyst Day in October. I think the tone of the Analyst Day was incredibly positive. And I think the guidance still speaks to the fact they feel confident in what their pipeline looks like. So this did, I think, when you talked to investors last night, a lot of people were surprised about this. And they do have a history of executing. So I think this was a complete surprise for most.
Well, Kirk, let's talk very briefly about the man at the top, not Ellison, but Mark Hurd, of course, new to the company here. What are analysts thinking about how he's going to take this company into 2012?
Well, I think Mark's spending a lot of time talking about their engineered systems products, really focusing on the execution around the hardware business. Obviously, he comes from HP, so he's got some background on that side of the business. And I think Larry and the entire management team's view, frankly, is that we want to be able to service a broader swath of the enterprise, meaning not just software anymore, but actually hardware. And if we can provide a more, I guess, favorable risk reward, we'll be able to gain share, wallet share, because at their size, really, with IT budgets only growing a few percent, sort of in line with GDP, for Oracle to really grow or outgrow the market, they have to take wallet share. They're at that size at this point in time, and they're pretty well positioned around some of the broader secular trends around cloud. They obviously just made the Right Now acquisition, and we talk about trends like big data. As a data management vendor, they should have a play in that market as well.
All right, Kirk, thanks for joining us here on In the Loop with your insight on Oracle. That was Kirk Materne of Evercore Partners.